Hello and welcome to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm. I am Jennifer Helm, the Faithful Stamper, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Today I am working on a gift card holder. I have not done gift card holders in a while, and the selection that I have here at home I just felt was getting a little bit stale, so I thought I would break out some new products and share with you how to make a quick and easy gift card holder. So this is what the front looks like. It's very, very simple. 2 score lines. Oops, my tear and tape doesn't want to behave tonight. A quick pocket. And this is super easy because these are die cuts. The products we are using are from I keep saying new, but it's been around for a month and a half now. Our spring mini catalog, which runs covers January through April, but the catalog itself runs through the very beginning of May. And this is our Wildflower Birthday Suite. And there's beautiful die cuts and paper. And the paper here is where the die cuts come from. There's beautiful sheets of Designer Series paper, or DSP, and then 2 sheets full of die cuts. It's a 12 by 12 full of die cut shapes, including these flowers and birthday cake slice you're going to see in a little bit. So you can check out all those products at my website here. And we have online exclusives. We have an incentive going on right now called Celebration. So be sure to check that out. And if you are in need of a paper catalog because you don't have a demonstrator and you're like me and you like to drool over the paper in person, please feel free to reach out to me. You can contact me on Facebook or comment in the comment section here, and I'll ask you to please send me your address and I'll be happy to mail you a catalog. All right, let's go ahead and get started. The verbiage today is from the Perennial Postage set. This has been around for a little bit, but I'm using Happy Mother's Day and You Mean the World to Me. So our base is a piece of peach pie. That's the color of cardstock. It's one of our in colors from 2024 to 2026. We have 2 sets of 5 colors that are staggered in 2-year increments. So we will have new colors that'll be 2025 to 2027. They'll be coming out around May, and I can't wait to see what the new colors are going to be. They're always fun. But the peach pie here is one of them. So this is 4 1/4 by 11. So kind of what we call the hot dog card style. It will not work with the other style of card base. Technically it would, but you'd have to do it a whole lot differently. So this is quick and easy for you. And we're just going to score the 11-inch side 2 times. I went ahead and did that because I figure you know how to score. 1 1/2 inches, and then right down the middle at 5 1/2. So once I have made my score lines, I turn it over. I fold on the halfway mark. And then I open it back up and fold on that 1 1/2 inch line. And this is creating our pocket. Now, if you want to put a little thumb hole in, now is the time to do that. You can use a little round punch or any really shape that you want to use and put it right there. But this pocket is a little bit shallow, and so I kind of don't feel it's necessary. So I'm going to use tear and tape on the pocket. I think I need a new roll. Mine is getting down to the end, and I feel like it might not be quite as sticky. It's possibly an old roll. I also like to use a clear block with a straight edge to pull back against my tape, because you can see I get nice clean breaks. I just find it easier to peel the backing off that way. It doesn't stick to my fingernails as much. So all I'm going to do once the backing of the tape is off is press from the seam out, and that creates a little pocket. And I have a little kind of faux gift card here just so you can see where the gift card would go. So my next step is to work on the inside. Typically, I usually go to the front and then work my way inside, but this one I'm doing a little differently, because you'll see when we close the front of the card, because we created the pocket, now we have open space. So to decorate that, what we're going to do is take a piece of basic white that's 5 1/4 by 4. This is what I call the standard insert for a card. And I'm going to take a piece of Designer Series paper that is 1 1/2 inches wide by 4 inches tall. I'm going to glue it here on the edge. And then when I put it inside the card, it's going to fill up that space. Now I'm going to do something I don't normally do. Normally I do not do gluing and then stamp, but because of the way this card is laid out, I'm going to do that and just hope for the best. First of all, I'm going to hope that my glue works because it crashed on me during my Facebook Live, so I'm going to talk about it real sweet. And there we go. Hopefully it'll last through this video. It got hung up and it did not want to work. So I have backup ready just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down, and now I'm going to stamp. So I'm going to take Blueberry Bushel, which is this color blue here, and stamp my message, which is "You mean the world to me." I know I'm a little bit early for Mother's Day because it's only February, but I wanted to show you the versatility with some of the sets. Oh, that's a little crooked. See, that's why I usually stamp first, but I don't think it's enough to be really troublesome. Okay, then what I'm going to do is take Pretty in Pink, which is the color of my layer here, and is also another one of the in colors, along with that peach pie. And I'm just going to put a little accent stamp here. I know I don't really need it with a pretty strip of DSP, but old habits die hard for me. And also, while I have that out, I'm going to stamp my envelope as well. Okay, so that's all the Pretty in Pink ink that I need. And I'm going to glue this in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and get my last bit of stamping done, and then it'll sit for a second. To decorate the front, what we're going to do is we're going to take a cardstock layer that's 3 3/4 by 4. This is that Pretty in Pink. And we're going to layer on top of it a piece of basic white that is 3 1/2 by 3 1/4. But we're going to stamp, and then I'm going to show you a little partial embossing trick here. But my big note here is check the direction of your paper before stamping. And I say that because, if I can get my card to cooperate and come back over here for a second, you will notice these aren't quite square. There's a 1/4 inch difference between the height and the width. So you have to layer them just so, or you'll notice something doesn't look quite right. I mean, if you did it all the way, that would look okay, but that's not the look I'm going for. I want to have the square. So make sure before you do any stamping that your panels will fit in the proper direction on the front of your card. It's important when you're stamping, but if you're using Designer Series paper on the front, which I'm going to show you in some of the samples, it's really important to make sure you're cutting 3 1/2 inches wide, 3 3/4 inches tall, okay? So I always like, when I come across something like this that involves checking the paper direction, I like to warn you because typically I have suffered from my own error. So I share. All right, so let's go ahead and stamp on this, and then I'll show you that partial embossing trick. So what I'm going to do is go back to that Blueberry Bushel ink and take my Happy Mother's Day, and I'm going to stamp. This is a red rubber cling stamp, so I already have the cushion built in. I don't really need that Stampin' Pierce mat you may have seen. I'm going to stamp up here near the top, and that's probably a little off too, but that's okay. Whew. I felt a sneeze coming on. I hope it goes away and stays away. So let me close my ink up because inevitably I will throw something in it. All right, so that partial embossing technique, I'm going to bring my machine over in just a second. This is not the folder. This folder is Bound and Determined. I've used it twice when I didn't need to today. Okay. I'm going to use the Cane Weave 3D folder. So the 3D folders are a little bit thicker, and so I need platform number 1 and platform number 4. And one thing that's great about this, with both our machines, the platforms that come with them have the directions right on. So the old style, we used to have to go get a piece of paper and remember it, and I love that it's written right on here. And most of our folders now are 3D, so this is the one I use the most for embossing. So to get this partial embossed look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the folder. Typically, I'm putting the whole thing in. I'm not doing that today. I'm going to line it up with my wording just above the folder, the end of the folder. And I try to make sure I get this straight as possible. So you might have to fool with it a little bit till you're happy. There we go. I think that looks good. So I'm going to leave that paper hanging out. I'm going to lay it down like so with the fold going into the machine and stack this on top. Now I'm going to offset it just a little bit and grab my machine here. So I like to stagger the plates. They typically go in the machine a little bit better, and I'm going to make sure that still looks good because I wiggled it a little bit. And I apologize, this isn't the greatest view. And if there's an earthquake, I apologize. That worked much better than my Facebook Live went. So when I move this out of the way and take apart what we call our sandwich and take the paper out, I have a beautiful embossed panel, which is probably just a smidge crooked. That's okay. And then the blank space at the top. I really could have stamped and run the whole thing through, but sometimes you want that partial embossed look. So now we're going to start assembling the front. So remember, check your layout, make sure you're putting it in the correct order. And that's, I spoke too soon. And I jinxed it. Yep, and it did it again. For some reason, this particular adhesive roll wants to hang up, so I'll have to go dig it into it later. So pardon the contraband, not Stampin' Up, but any tape runner will do. I really only use tear and tape to make the pocket. On the rest of the card, I just like a nice sturdy adhesive. Now, before I glue this on, I want to add the ribbon. If I'm going to mess up on a card, usually it's here because I have a tendency to glue the panel down without putting the ribbon down first. And I'm going to use one of my little tricks, which is the ever so popular Scotch tape. Some people like to attach their ribbon with adhesive, and I am envious of them because I just do not have that gift. If I try to put a line of adhesive to attach this ribbon and keep it straight, it never ever works. It's just not my friend. So I like Scotch tape because I only need a little bit, and 9 times out of 10, I get my ribbon straight, or it's easier to fix when I've used the Scotch tape. Okay, so now I've got my ribbon on, and I'm going to put a little bit more glue on than normal, although if you've seen me before, you know I'm probably a little adhesive happy. And I'm putting more on because that ribbon kind of disrupts the flow of the cardstock. And I want to make sure this is not going to peel off for whichever mom might get it on Mother's Day. So there is the front. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and glue the inside in. There we go. So it's coming together. So next up, all we have to do is decorate it with these die cuts that I mentioned from the set. So I have a couple different blooms. Oh, here's a leaf. I was trying to disappear. So I'm going to put some with dimensionals and some with glue dots. And I opted for glue dots that come as part of our kits or our paper pumpkin kits. If you haven't checked them out, they're a fantastic way to craft quickly. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have on those. But I like these because they're great for small die cuts and things like that. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put a couple of glue dots here on the back of this silver, it's gold, flower stem. I'm trying not to muck up the gold too much. I notice when I handle these too many times, they get a little wrinkly. And this gold is so pretty. Whoop, it stuck to my finger. So I'm going to put this one, I'm kind of going to put it here. And then I'm going to put another one, maybe two here, on the back of this leaf. And let's see. I'm going to put that, I think, here. Next, I'm going to put on this large pink flower, and then I'm going to work around it. I'm actually going to put my dimensionals more in the middle so that I can work some of these other pieces underneath of it. I think you'll see what I mean once I get started. Let's see. I just love how this comes together. And there's a lot more floral pieces and birthday banners and cakes in this die cut set. So it's fun that you can do different occasions with it. Now I think I'm just going to put one dimensional on each one of these. And I think we'll be almost done. Then we just need a little bling. And we'll be ready for samples. So let's see here. As usual, my embellishments and my die cut pieces take me the longest to put on. But there we go. And then I have some party dots. These coordinate with the set that I'm just going to pop a couple of these on the card. We've got big ones and small ones. And I love my take your pick tool for helping position that. If I try to use my finger, I usually end up with some fingernail embellishments, or they end up flying across the room. All right, so there is our quick and easy gift card holder. And I'm going to show you first the original inspiration for this idea. I go to retreats periodically with friends who are demonstrators, and we created this gift card holder, and I loved it. And it was just so simple, I thought I really need to share. And as I mentioned earlier, I have not done many gift card holders lately and wanted to just kind of freshen up my supply. So from the same die cut and paper suite, I made this one as well. Kind of the same concept with the partial emboss, the ribbon, but birthday. And then I jumped back to Mother's Day, and I wanted to show you that you have some other options for how you decorate the front of the card. Here I used 2 pieces of designer series paper. So I have that strip that's 1.5 by 4, and then in place of the basic white layer, I just cut cardstock or cut designer series paper as instead. And I could get 3 sets of these from a strip of 12 by 12 paper. So if you want to mass produce them, it goes pretty quickly. Here I kept it simple with a piece of designer series paper, a label, and a punch. So you do have options there. I did not actually venture into changing the orientation, but you could do that. Just watch how your paper is placed if you choose to go that route. Here I stuck with the strip of designer series paper on the edge, but I used colored cardstock and embossed the whole top layer, and then again went with a punch and a stamped image and then more of those die cuts. So I think some moms would be happy to get that bright, cheery gift card holder. However, it is perfect, and actually that paper is perfect as well for baby cards, particularly for girls. If you went with a lot of greens, you could pair it with that page, but this is perfect for a baby girl. And I used our Darling Dinos, so that is where our little dinosaur is from here. So perfect if you've got a little one coming up. And then I grabbed our new honeybee paper. This is an online exclusive, and made a couple of birthday cards. So you can just see the different possibilities for decoration, and obviously great for any different occasion. And then last but not least, here is one final birthday card with our happy bee paper. This just, the colors and the bright happy bees make me smile. So there you have it. There is our quick and easy gift card holder. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make that. If you have not already done so, I would love for you to subscribe here to the page. You can click the notification bell and it'll give you a little ding each time a video is posted here on the page. And if you're a Facebook user, you can find me at The Faithful Stamper. I share more card ideas there. I have a Facebook Live once a week, and I share other incentives and different things going on with Stampin' Up! And sometimes I offer incentives myself too, so be sure to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting.